So from here, I just want to start painting in my 3 basic layers, which is going to be my foreground, middle ground, and background. I'm going to start to dissect this thing apart. You kind of have your foreground area here, your mid-ground area here, and all this stuff back here is going to be our background. So foreground, middle ground, background. Inside of the mid-ground, that's where I want my action to be. That's where you're going to see your characters. That's where you're going to see your major focal point. Okay? The foreground area is just basically there to help situate the viewer inside of the space. Without these foreground elements, the viewer is going to feel very disconnected to what we're doing. So we have to put them into the space. That's very, very important. And foreground elements are one of the best ways to do that. Background area, this is, I think, one of the most important areas of the painting. Even though it's really far away and it's, less detail, there's less polish, however, it gives you the sensibility of the rest of the world. You know what I mean? If I'm just going to give you a painting of a cool mountain, and there's like a nothing behind it, it's not going to sell, But if you see some stormy clouds back there, you see, birds flying around, you see thunder and lightning, it puts you and lets you understand what's going on in that space. You know what I mean? It gives you the mood, it gives you the feel. So I like to use the background to really emphasize that. Get some nice separation and overlap. Okay, let's do that again back here. Separate some of the shapes out a little bit more clearly and distinctly. Now, one thing that helps out to paint lighting from bottom up is let's turn this upside down. There we go. Now it's like painting normally. Very, very nice. Now we could do this all day long because we see this every day, It becomes much, much easier to do. Let's create some more hot spots down there or up there. One thing that I would suggest as well is when you guys are going to do thumbnails, try to put them into one page like this, and now you get to see what you can compare with. Making sure that all the thumbnails have a different sensibility, a different kind of sense of space and tightness, maybe different lighting, proportions of light and dark. So now we can definitely play around with all that type of stuff. I definitely want to utilize these shapes to promote where my focal point is over here. All kind of pointing out to that spot. All right. I'm just going to make a couple of textures to kind of use. All right. And anytime I put in objects like this, I always use a mask to try to fit it into the space a bit better. And I always use a mask only because it got embedded into my process basically because I was working in the ad agency kind of space, and everything has to be reversible there. Everything, moving tree branches and leaves and things like that. Everything has to be accessible and removable, or be able to edit it. So I'm just going to make more of these circular platforms all over the place. Little pods, landing stations. And as they get further back in space, you can't even see the ellipse anymore really. So just put in some flat lines. We can definitely show a bit more perspective down here on the top surface of the platforms because they're lower. And we get to see more of the top surface. We can still utilize some of that in here and just somehow connect it to the base. Definitely want to get some uniformity down here. So just connecting the dots right now. And I just kind of want to go for ambient, feel the ambient glow of some of these neon lights coming into the mix. Okay, even though just getting the glow in here as well. I just want to kind of just see where the colors are laying. Now with overlay, again, I want to try to play around with the just overall value structure of this piece. And I want to do this small on the page, or keep the page very small on my computer to see what is actually happening, what is really going on with the values. Sometimes when it's a bit too big, you just get lost in it. You don't see the subtleties, how much is actually changing.